If I'm talking to a girl and I tell her to come here, it's a difference between if I tell her to come here and I think I'm scared to say it and I think I want her to come here, versus the come here that says I have something to say, or the come here that says I have something to do. It's two types of come heres. All because from within how I felt when I said it, and what I knew and what I trusted myself when I said it. It's natural. And this is why I never been with the whole fake it till you make it thing, because when pressure comes, that's when people get exposed. When pressure comes, that's when people either fold or bend but don't break, and they come back stronger. So what you choose to do and how much you trust yourself shows what you will put yourself through, what you will test yourself with, and how you will carry yourself and interact with the world. And from the perspective of a woman, from the perspective of your siblings, your family, your children, they're gonna look at how much you trust yourself and decide whether they should trust you. They're gonna look at how much you trust yourself and decide whether they should listen to you. Whether you're the kind of person who can lead them, whether you're the kind of person they can follow. Because ultimately, when somebody chooses to follow you, to let you lead them, and to let you tell them what to do, they have to feel that they're safer or better off doing that than doing it on their own. And why the would I look at somebody who feels weak, who doesn't trust themselves, doubt themselves, or believe in themselves, and say, oh yeah, I'll put myself in their hands? Well, you ain't moving like Allstate. Why would I follow you? So now listen. I had to spend this time talking about it because y'all might not understand why you lack assertiveness, why you lack confidence. Because you don't understand how someone can look at you and judge whether they should follow you or listen to you. So I hope I made that clear. Then the next thing I'm going to go into, you're going to say, well, you keep talking about trusting yourself, you keep talking about believing yourself, you keep talking about assertive, confidence, and dominance. How can I improve that? Well, listen, W promo, of course. On the Patreon, I talk a lot about self-image. That's a lot of exclusive videos on Patreon, which have topics I've never talked about on YouTube. And you can get a one-on-one session, DMs, method, like whatever you want on Patreon, it's on there. I make sure that that investment in yourself is worth your time and your money. But for the sake of going into what I can go into without repeating myself in this video, you build trust in yourself by listening. Knowingly accepting the consequences of who you are. And that's deeper than it sounds. Meaning, just like I said, the reason your confidence will be adaptable and it will carry over in different circumstances, challenges, and situations is because you'll have your back, you'll ride with you, right or wrong, wet or dry, tall or short, cold or hot, slow or fast. You will ride by you, you'll die on you. Because you're all you got, and you're all you need. But if you need something without yourself and not something within yourself, your foundation, your strength comes from, puppet strings, but you feel good as a puppet because you're happy. For example, I'll give you an example. A woman chooses you, a woman gives you validation, or you're a woman, a man gives you validation, a man chooses you, it makes you feel good. And the moment that this person cuts those strings or takes that away or does the opposite, you go up and you go down. You feel good and you feel bad. There isn't a single person who can do that for me. Because you know why? Because they never gave me that feeling. They can improve that feeling, but they're not the reason I have it. I trust myself. I believe in myself. I love myself. So when it comes to the impact another person has on my life, I am very, very keen, observant, and selective about how I let other people impact me. Because whether or not they can give you my strength, my love, or my confidence in self, they can damn sure bring a bad fruit to a good tree. They'll sink a ship if you let them. But this is the kind of confidence I have in myself to know I can't be around everybody. I'm not going to force somebody to love themselves. I'm not going to force somebody to believe in themselves. This all is coming from how I trust myself. I trust myself enough to be careful with myself, to treat myself right. So the point I'm making this is, how are you caring about yourself that tells yourself that you'll put you first? We can't even get to self-confidence and self-trust if we not even on the level of self-love. And what comes with that? Who are you willing to cut off? Who are you willing to separate yourself from? Who are you willing to stop talking to? What are you willing to stop watching? What are you willing to stop doing for you? For you. Because you got to be there for yourself. And the moment you start building up this self-love, this self-care, is when you really start to trust yourself. Because guess what? You are now building and becoming something you are proud of, and something you believe in, something you what? Trust. All through self-care. So then when you deal with that woman, you're not coming from a position of, I want her to like me. I need her to want me. How do I make her do this? And how do I make that? You don't even force that because you don't need it. And guess what? Your whole frame of mind is positioned differently. Because in that state of mind, you're looking at yourself as some sort of, as you're looking at her, or if you're a girl, you're looking at him as some sort of a prize or a trophy to you, a win for yourself. But see, when you come from the place of self-love, self-care, and putting yourself first, you know that dealing with a person, no matter how good looking they are, no matter how much money they got, they can still ruin your life. They can still take away your energy. They can still have an impact on you, which costs more than what you see that they have to offer. And guess what? You won't do that when you love yourself. So the example I give guys a lot of times is I say, the more game you have, the more woman you can get, but you don't want the same woman. You don't anymore. That's the crazy part about game. The more game you get, obviously the more woman you can get, but you don't even want the same woman because you done elevated mentally to another. Y'all don't even compliment each other as y'all used to. You don't even want the same one. You don't, what satisfied you before doesn't satisfy you anymore. You think completely different. So going into that state of mind of wanting somebody to want you, it's like I can tell as dealing with this stuff, as soon as somebody asks a certain question, I can read 10 things from that question. She ain't text me back. So like, how do I make her jealous? And how do I make her? Just already from that question, you in that state of mind just told me a million things about you. A million things. Because guess what? If I go into the mindset of somebody who loves themselves, puts themselves first and what's best for them, they wouldn't even ask that. They wouldn't even question it. They would already be doing what's best for them, regardless of the consequence. And they would trust their decision no matter how they feel. Because they've thought about their feelings and they've felt their thoughts. That is emotional intelligence and self-awareness. It's deep.